We won't blame you if you think boxers aren't afraid of anything, but that's not always the case. Some of the most famous boxers are actually incredibly superstitious. They believe that if they don't do certain things exactly the right way before their fight, it's going to result in a loss. And with that being said, here are some of the most surprisingly strange things that boxers do before their fights. Firstly, a lot of boxers do nipple tweaking. Yeah, you heard that right. Many boxers do nipple tweaking before they start their fights. And yes, it's probably one of the most suggestive and creepiest pre-game rituals in boxing history. In fact, this action has literally become a phenomenon at this point. Ever since we first saw Georges St-Pierre tweak his nipples between his fingers, the boxing world has been kind of in awe. And since Georges St-Pierre defeated John Fitch for 5 consecutive rounds, we've seen a lot of fighters like Keith Jardine, Rashad Evans, and Leonard Garcia use this action with positive results. The ritual has had many explanations over the years. Some say it helps to calm the nerves. Some say it's done to form a connection with the body, and some boxers, like Rashad Evans, even believe that it's just for good luck. Well, we've heard finding a 4-leaf clover also brings some good luck, and even stuffing a horseshoe inside your pants is good luck. But tweaking your nipples? That's a first. But honestly, who are we to question when it's a well-proven method for these boxers, that is? Like when Nate Marquardt stepped inside the ring with harder nipples and easily knocked off the great Anderson Silva. The winning streak on this strange method goes on with not a single miss. John Jones goes partying for a whole week. John Jones is one of the most talented but also controversial boxers out there. He revealed that he had a pretty self-destructive pre-fight ritual, as he used to get all blackout drunk for an entire week before his fights. He used to party and drink for days and deprive himself of sleep. The reason? He would do it all just to have an excuse in case he ever did lose. Weirdly though, turns out he's got a fairly solid winning streak though. You won't believe it, he actually only lost 1 fight out of 23 in his career. Then it was actually during his fight with Alexander Gustafsson when he decided that this destructive habit had to go. No surprise here, this fight was pretty intense. Although John won by a narrow margin, he calls it the most difficult challenge to date. Even though he claims to have given up on these strange habits, we wonder what surprising thing he does before fighting now. Next up, Cub Swanson wants his moment of silence. On rare occasions, some of the boxers have simple and predictable pre-fight rituals. Cub Swanson is one of those boxers who just wants to be in the right spot to do what it takes to knock another man out. Swanson has stated that he takes time to sit alone in a corner of a room to stop thinking about the rest of the world. He then recalls a negative time in his life and uses it to get him into the right frame of mind. Simple, but impactful. Some of them drink their urine. Yeah, that's not a joke. I wish it was, but it's actually the truth. And to be honest, this is just disgusting. The thing is, Lyoto not only drinks his urine before his fights, but he's also said to just do it every day. The reason behind it is definitely going to shock you even more though. See, apparently, he believes that drinking your own urine flushes out your system, and it's a long-standing tradition in his family. See, it was his father that introduced him to drinking his own pee, and that he's been doing it for years now. You wouldn't believe that Lyoto's father did it live during an interview in Montreal. He took a plastic cup, went to the side, cranked it up, filled it with drink, and he downed it actually in one sip. He even splashed some of it on his chin, which very clearly grossed out the interviewer. As it turns out, Lyoto isn't the only boxer who does this outrageous practice. Luke Okamo is also said to do the same. Luke even said that urine contains hormones, elements, and minerals that bind moisture to the proteins. He believes it's a major part of the human body's recycling process. We don't really have any data to back them up, but I guess whatever works for them. Alright? And now, Clay Guida likes to get slapped. Clay Guida is a veteran who's done over 50 professional fights throughout his career. But even veterans need some motivation before entering the octagon. Apparently, he gets himself slapped several times to turn on his ultimate beast mode before the fight. It's possible that the slaps serve as a reminder for him that the pain felt during a fight is momentary, but the victory he might possibly achieve is going to be permanent. We got to know of this strange ritual during his fight with Bobby Green in Las Vegas, when his opponent was getting motivated by the wise words of his coach. Clay got violently slapped by his brother, and everyone was left in complete shock, and his opponents were clearly outraged to see this happen. No matter what you think of it, you can't deny it's an interesting technique to amp yourself up before entering the octagon. Now here's the golden part though. Although Clay seemed pretty charged up for his fight, the slapping didn't help at all with the results. He lost that fight miserably. It was Bobby Green who won unanimously after 3 rounds. Many boxers paint their toenails. Another kind of weird ritual that seems to have been passed down from the training camps is that a lot of fighters prefer to paint their toenails before their big fights. And the reason is pretty interesting. Apparently, it aids the fighters in preventing their toes from splitting up or cracking. A layer of nail polish applied above the nail is said to harden it, reducing the risk of the nail being bruised during the fight, while enduring or kicking toe stomps. Fighters' toes are frequently bruised as a result of the effort required to land an impactful kick, and besides this, being on the receiving end of a continual foot stomp contributes to toenail damage. Therefore, most of the boxers paint their toenails to avoid this. Some of the big names who have stepped into the octagon with their toenails painted include Andrei Arlovsky, Jeff Monson, Yoel Romero, Chris Lieben, Frank Trigg, and the man who started it all, Chuck Liddell. Next, Conor McGregor keeps his grandfather hat in a bag. You'd be forgiven if you think Conor McGregor is totally emotionless as a boxer, but he does have one habit to remind himself of his roots. He always keeps his late grandfather's hat in his bag whenever he has a major fight. He does so to remind himself of his journey from nothing to being one of the most successful boxers out there. He revealed it in one of his documentaries. A brief moment of remembrance and respect is unlikely to be expected from somebody like McGregor, but he's said to have continued this ritual before many of his fights. He kept the hat for over 10 years until it got stolen from his car. It was then replaced by an apparel company, but the message still remains. Finally, Jon Blachowicz touches rope for good luck. Now, this might sound like something that's just like super simple, but wait until we get into the depths of it though. It gets kind of dark. On the surface, Jon says that he takes a moment to touch a rope before his important fights. Now, this isn't just a regular piece of rope. It happens to be related to the dark date of a person. It was used by a man who hung himself in a forest in Warsaw, Poland. Now, Jon has made it a habit to visit this exact spot in the forest to touch the rope before his fights. He believes it's a good luck charm for him that has over 90% success rate since he started doing this. He revealed it in one of his documentaries. Although we don't know exactly when this happened, he found the man while he was walking his dog in the forest, whom he initially mistook as being alive. When he called the authorities, an investigation officer on the scene asked him if he took a part of the rope that the man used to hang himself. The thing is, some people believe that if you find a hanged man, you take his rope for good luck. In fact, during the 1880s, the medical students in Paris used to sell pieces of ropes that were attached to those brought into the hospitals who had attempted suicide. It was even reported that there was a high demand in Paris for hanging rope for use as a lucky charm, and superstitious people and French gamblers had to rely on suicides for these pieces. But Jon wasn't comfortable taking a piece from a rope, so he compromised by returning to the forest to touch the rope for every fight. This turned his career around. He had lost 4 out of his 5 initial fights, but he eventually went on a streak, winning 7 of his 8 fights. And that's a wrap for this video. Which of these strange habits shocked you the most? Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this one. See you in the next one.